Hello, and thank you for coming to this meeting. My name is Joey Riggle, and I'm here to talk about value-based leadership and how I'm going to be the new customer service manager here at Corollary Marketing. A little bit about me, some of the values that I hold true to me and how I feel like should be in place in the work environment are honesty, dependability, respect, teamwork, and family. Um, These are really important to me for a lot of different reasons. I mean, I have a family. I'm sure a lot of you guys do as well. I think it's very important to be honest in the workplace. You have to be dependable. Um, you got to treat each other with respect. And as a team, we got to have teamwork. A personal experience for me would be working in the Army National Guard, which I've been in for about the last 6 years. I've been on both sides, the enlisted and the officer side. Um, and when I was lower enlisted and I first got into the Army, I'm sure a lot of you maybe know from movies or maybe have prior military experience. You can have a good experience with leadership, and you can also have a bad experience with leadership. Leaders can be micromanaging. Um, they can be rude sometimes. They can treat you kind of poorly if they have some maybe like ego, like high ego, and they don't know how to keep that in check, or if they're not just willing to work like a team. I think it's important to work up and down the ladder for leadership. Lower enlisted or new people should be able to talk to leadership with respect, and leadership should be able to talk with newer people with respect, and they should be able to have this free-flowing level of communication without worrying about being treated poorly. And then I've also had the experience where I got to be an officer candidate school, which is what I'm currently in, and so I get to be put in leadership opportunities every day while I'm there, and it's much different being able to have leadership um, in that environment. I get to talk to all sorts of different types of people, and I make sure I do my very, very best to treat people with respect and with kindness and with honesty. But I also make sure that people are dependable, and if they're not dependable, I mean, there's consequences for those types of things. And if other people aren't respectful to other people, then there's consequences for those things as well. I mean, so it's good to be fair, but also kind. Um, and I also have a family, and to me, that's extremely important. Being able to have family time, and when I'm with my family, to keep that time separate from work. So, I encourage you guys as well, if you all have a family, to make sure you focus a lot on keeping your family tight knit and making sure you guys have healthy relationships inside your homes. Um, Vision statement I created here is, as a customer service manager, my vision is to create a culture of integrity and excellence where every interaction reflects our unwavering commitment to honesty, transparency, and ethical behavior. By placing integrity at the core of our customer service practices, we will establish trust, foster strong relationships, and exceed expectations. So this is what I would like to see going forward, our long-term goals for this company. It's important to have integrity so that we can reach excellence by doing everything honestly, doing everything individually. When nobody's looking, you should be able to do the right thing. And of course, this can change as we go. We can adjust it and whatnot, but this is the vision statement I created for now. Right. Self-awareness in our daily life. We can be self-aware as a team by having emotional awareness. This allows us to know when and what emotions are going on in us and others by developing the skills. By developing these skills, we can manage our relationships with others, which each other and clients in a professional manner that fosters growth, such as feeling, thinking, and doing. These are kind of the steps. You can recognize, okay, if you're in a situation where you feel stressed, or you feel like maybe there's just a lot going on, take a moment and discuss with yourself, how are you feeling? Then, what are you thinking about doing because of those feelings? And then what are you doing about those feelings? So these are the steps you can kind of take to be self-aware of what you're feeling and what actions you can or might want to take to help with those feelings. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you could say, okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I need to take a step back, take a breath, and then I can go back into what I'm doing or figure out a different solution to where I'm not in such a stressful situation. Self-management. Emotional self-control plays an important role in self-management. Our team will be able to succeed in stressful and fast-paced environments if we can learn emotional self-control, which is the ability to keep disruptive emotions and impulses in check to maintain our effectiveness under stressful and even hostile conditions. This is kind of similar to the other one where you're in a stressful situation and maybe you just want to run or you want to lash out because you're stressed and you want to just maybe tell somebody to be quiet or leave or quit or something like that. Well, it's important that you don't do those things. It's important that you um, can manage yourself and figure out a way to manage stressful emotions and stressful situations in a healthy way that's still productive and conducive to the work environment. So making sure we can still proceed with the mission even though we're in a stressful situation. And that can mean, counting on others as well. If you need a moment you're dealing with an angry customer yelling in your face, say, hey, sir or ma'am, I need to take a break. I'm really stressed out right now. But here's my coworker or supervisor. I'm going to have them help you with the current situation. So that way you can learn to manage, or you could take a break and manage your own emotions during that time. Social awareness. Our team can show empathy to fellow coworkers to make sure everyone is emotionally doing well, taking care of each other, and checking in about how we are all doing with well, this will help the team build cohesion, which will ultimately help the team lean on each other in tough times. So this, let's say you see that customer yelling in an employee's face, one of your fellow employees or team workers' face, and you see your coworkers stressed out to the max. Maybe they're about to cry. You can step in as a team member and say, "Hey, I notice you're really stressed out, or I notice this looks like a really stressful situation. Do you mind if I take over, or how can I help you?" And if that customer's just being wild, you can just say, "Hey, sir, ma'am, I'm going to take over the situation right now while my team member goes on their 15-minute break, which is scheduled. You can make something up, but just get that person who's stressed out of the area and into a comfortable environment so they can calm down and then handle the customer." Or if you notice the customer in the break rooms crying on the phone, um, maybe they're just looking really down or stressed out or being short with people that day, you can come up to them and say, "Hey, is something going on at home? Like, how can I help you? Like, what's going on?" And this is you recognizing somebody else's emotions and you're figuring out a way how you can help them or at least just be there for them in that space so that they don't feel alone if they're going through a hard situation. And this is going to help us as a team grow and be um, more cohesive as a team because we're going to learn that we can count on each other and other people are going to have your back in any situation. So here we have some biases which can affect um, our workplace. So a couple of examples of biases we have are unconscious biases and conscious biases. Unconscious bias are social stereotypes about certain groups of people and individuals from outside their own conscious awareness. Like this, it could be something. Maybe you're unconsciously biased about somebody's religion, their race, or their age, etc. You think, oh, that person's kind of old. I don't think they can lift that box, or man, they shouldn't be here because of this or that. You know what I mean? Like, these are important things to recognize that you might have that bias so that you can learn to remove that bias or figure out why you have that bias. Because just because you have that bias doesn't mean it's true. Somebody's religion, race, or age should not have effect on their employment or their ability to be in a team. These are people's personal decisions, or just a matter of their age. Um, People are on the team because they have the skills and the professional ability to perform, and it's up to us to be able to make sure that we as a team can continue to perform. So if you do have unconscious biases and you're starting to feel a certain way about somebody, just recognize that you have that bias. Talk to yourself about it. Um, Figure out why you have that bias, and then you can start to realize, okay, no, this doesn't affect that person, or this doesn't affect the team. I just have this bias for some reason because maybe I grew up a certain way, maybe my parents had that belief, or something like that. So it's something to work on, and then realize you have so that you can change that mentality. A cognitive bias. We have information bias and selection bias. Information bias would be somebody looking for more information that supports their idea, maybe without looking for data that might not support their idea. So if you're looking up uh, that aliens are true, and then all you're finding is documents that support aliens are true without looking at um, other things that say no, aliens are not true, then you're going to tell everybody that aliens are true because you only looked up data that supports your theory rather than um, other data that might help you think about things from both perspectives. So then we have selection bias, um, which is like an example would be recruiting people already interested in a subject to test a new product, like a weight loss pill advertised to people in a fitness magazine. If you advertise to people in an area like a fitness magazine who are already interested in fitness and losing weight, and they're already like, that's already on their mind, and then you advertise a weight loss pill to them, they're going to be way more interested in the weight loss pill because they're already thinking about their weight, they're already thinking about fitness and stuff, rather than advertising to somebody who's on like an automotive magazine or in a food magazine or something, because they're not even thinking, they might not be even thinking about their own fitness and stuff. So advertising to people, um, or recruiting people interested in a subject to test a new product, kind of that are already primed about the topic. So how can biases affect ethical decision making? Biases could determine if a supervisor promoted one worker over another based on a bias on how the employees dressed, their religion, or disability. It is important for leadership to make decisions based on skills and professional ability rather than a bias which may not be relevant to the employee. Biases are usually an internal dialogue that can be resolved if you are self-aware. Kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. But this is very important for leadership to make sure that they are self-aware and that they are aware of any biases that they may have, so that while they're going through selection processes with employees, they can think, okay, am I thinking I don't want to hire this person or promote this person simply because I have this bias? Like, what are their actual skills and professional abilities rather than how are they dressed today or what's their favorite sports teams or something like that? Like, it's important to look at the skills and professional abilities of an individual so that you can hire them and make the proper ethical choice. Relationship management. Ethics play a crucial role in relationship management, as it guides the behaviors, actions, and decisions that shape how individuals and organizations interact with their stakeholders. Ethical considerations influence the way relationships are built, nurtured, and maintained, and they contribute to the trust, respect, and long-term sustainability of these relationships. Here we go. So it's important to have ethics while developing relationships, and this goes back to the other slide as well, because it's hard to build relationships if you're cherry picking who you're going to be friends with, who you're promoting, who you're allowing your subordinates to be, and how your subordinates are spaced out in the team. If you're doing things based on bias, if you only have 20-year-old Seahawks fans that are dressed in blue that day on your team, it's going to look pretty bad. It's better to have a diverse team with many different skills, um, who can apply their life differences into your and perspectives into your job, so that way you have a good diversity working together and making the team work without having without having groupthink. And groupthink is pretty bad because it prevents the team from thinking outside the box, in my opinion. So, yeah, just it's important to have no bias in your team so that you can have healthy relationship management skills. Culture of care. Relationship management plays a pivotal role in creating a culture of care within an organization. When relationship management is approached with a genuine concern for well-being and satisfaction of stakeholders, It fosters an environment where individuals feel valued, supported, and understood. This culture of care promotes collaboration, empathy, and a sense of belonging, ultimately leading to enhanced productivity, loyalty, and overall organizational success. So it's definitely important to care about your employees and for your employees to care about you. When you have a two-way street, you're going to have a fully functional team that cares about each other. Whereas if you're just there clocking in and out, it's going to be kind of rough, and you're going to have a high turnover, and people aren't really going to want to be there. So it's important for leadership to show they care, whether that's coming in, seeing an employee stressed, talking to them, and vice versa. If an employee sees another team member who's stressed, talking to them, um, and making sure that everybody's okay and working together. Emotional intelligence. As a team leader, utilizing emotional intelligence and encouraging my direct reports to do the same is essential for fostering an effective and cohesive team dynamic. Emotional intelligence involves understanding and managing our own emotions and those of others. Self-management involves the ability to regulate and control one's emotions, impulses, and behaviors. When team members practice self-management, they can stay calm under pressure, adapt to changing circumstances, and handle setbacks effectively. By exercising self-control and demonstrating emotional stability, team members contribute to a positive environment, minimize disruptive conflicts, and inspire others through their resilience and composure. So this one's really important too. If a supervisor's I feel like everybody counts on the supervisor to be able to handle the stressful situations, and they kind of look up to the supervisor to see that and to handle sometimes their own stressful situations. So, um, leadership and supervisors need to have a high level of emotional intelligence because they have to be able to read what an angry client or what an upset team member is going through and know how to handle and navigate this situation. So being able to see that somebody's sad or angry and develop a plan and a course of action to help that person feel better or to be able to at least get through the day or the hour is extremely important.